Jojo's a team ball player, and this is what the Celtics are all about. You could see by them winning championships as a part of that.
The Boston Celtics are one of the most storied, successful franchises in not just basketball history, but in the history of sports. Since the birth of the league's existence in '47, behind the Spurs and the Lakers, the C's have the third highest win percentage in its history. They have the second most playoff appearances in league history at 58, and the second most finals appearances with 21, and are tied with the Lakers for the most championships in the league history with 17. The franchise is one of the few examples of dominance in the world of sports, as there has only been 3 specific decades that they did not win a championship, which was the 40s, in which the league basically started in 47 again, the 90s, and the 2010s. They have seen their fair share of legendary talent come along and bless their organization with legendary moments that would build their historical success. From Bob Cousy and Bill Sharman of the 50s, to Bill Russell and Sam Jones of the 60s, to John Havlicek and Dave Cowens of the 70s, and to the legendary front court of Bird, McHale, and Parrish in the 80s, to the trio of The Truth, KG, and Jesus Shuttleworth in the new millennium, there has been significant Celtics players that have been honored due to their greatness, as all these names are either on the top 50 list from a quarter century ago or on the top 75 list today. But there is a legend who also played for the franchise who is missing from the list, who is so underrated and overlooked that he does not get his due credit for the imprint he left on the franchise legacy for success. I would like to introduce you guys to Joseph Henry White, simply known as Jojo White, the talented, underrated, forgotten Celtic floor general of the 70s. Drafted with the 9th pick in '69, Jojo was the definition of the quintessential floor general. He had a beautiful, soft-touching jump shot for the mid-range area, had elite ball control, could get to the basket and finish with an array of layups like floaters and runners, and more importantly, he was an elite conductor who could lead the team and control the place, setting his teammates up in the right spots for the right opportunities to make the best plays, especially in crucial moments. He was clutch, and to me, what makes him more special and talented is that he was the ultimate team player and leader, as he was unselfish and had a winning pedigree that cannot be questioned. Blessed with a dog, win at all costs mentality that ascended those Celtics teams to greatness, being another example on the long list of what it means to be a Celtic and embody the tradition. Despite military commitments that limited his playing opportunity, Jojo still had a stellar rookie year, proving to the franchise that he is the point guard that they needed since Bob Cousy, fully establishing that in his sophomore season and on. In his prime from 70 to 77, White averaged 20, 5, and 5, while being the lead facilitator on the team, co-starred by 2 Hall of Famers, John Havlicek and Dave Cowens. He helped the C's reach 6 straight playoff appearances, demonstrating what it is to be a great player and show Celtics pride as in important moments, he elevated his game to a legendary level, averaging more in his playoff career than the regular season, with 22, 6, and 5. He constantly illustrated his clutch mentality and unselfish play style that was dependable when his team needed it the most, as down the stretch in key moments when they needed it the most, he was either doing the action or orchestrating it. This resulted in the C's reaching the pinnacle twice in both 74 and 76, winning it all both times. This would be never more evident than in the 76 finals, where at the peak of his prime, Jojo put the whole nation on notice of his greatness, as he showed what it means to be a great floor general and balled out. From a leadership aspect and a hooping aspect, Jojo did it all at his athletic peak, from scoring to facilitating to leading the team down the stretch and making clutch plays. More specifically, in Game 5, arguably the greatest game ever played in NBA history, as after 3 overtime periods, Jojo will go on to score 33 points, hitting big bucket after bucket, being clutch and leading his team to gain a tough victory against the Phoenix Suns. His series heroics rewarded him the Finals MVP. I say voters did not vote him to be on the list because due to the extreme success of the C's franchise and other circumstances out of his control, he has been overshadowed and forgotten. The 70s was the foundation of style and flamboyance. His greatness is underappreciated by the talents and success of other great point guards from that time, like Nate Archibald, Pete Maravich, Walt Frazier, Earl Monroe, Dave Bing, and from the earlier part of the decade, Jerry West and Oscar Robertson. The league was in an extreme, dark, and disastrous time in the decade and had a hard time being televised nationally. So when you have a player like Jojo White, who has class, is non-controversial, and his game is not flashy, and the fact that his success period is legit stuck in the middle in between two of the greatest eras in Celtics history as they were dynasties, you see why his greatness is overlooked. But don't disrespect. Jojo was just as talented and as great as many of those point guards of his time and generally in the history of the NBA. In my opinion, he's the most underrated Celtic ever and is the true definition of the prototypical floor general. He was steady, skilled, tough, clutch, and showed up in big-time moments when it mattered the most, always being calm under pressure and never rattled. A great leader for a team, and was always reliable as he played over 75 games for 7 straight seasons, playing all 82 games for 5 consecutive seasons from 72 to 77. More importantly, he is a winner with a winning pedigree, being one of the many examples of what it means to be a Celtic and don the classic green and white. So after hearing all of this, does he have a case to be on the list?